Sveno Mick here. Carl's has done a bit of video. This is Mirror Drive. It only used to be old East Morton motorcycle motocross track. So what we have here is we're going along. The pitch used to be just here to the left. It was a level area, and just going along. So the pits were just there, and they run across along this ridge back behind, back head towards the east. And this is all the track. Go back in there. Down through there. There's the pits. And this was, I can't remember exactly, but I'll pull up just up here. And we used to come out here, me mate Bill, mainly Bill, myself, maybe Smeedy, maybe Rab, I can't remember. Definitely Bill and I. And we used to watch the motocross. Now this was in the early 70s. And I'm just going to video along here a bit further. This, all the track used to be along here, and obviously there was no trees at all back then. It was Francie Dunlop's farm. Francis Dunlop, he was killed in a car accident a few years later. And I'll just down past this place here, I just want to pull up and I'll just show you. Just over here to the right. Now you can't actually see much, but I'll just video. I'm just going to video this. So, hey dog, hey dog. So over there used to be, there was actually still, oh, I can't see them now, but there was some earth jumps pushed up. And I can clearly remember seeing a bloke called Stuart Mclaughlin. He was on Suzuki's. He was killed, I'd say, in the 80s on motorcycles, but I clearly remember he was one of the best in Queensland. I remember seeing his RM125 or RM250, whatever he's riding the day, out in front. But yeah, there used to be, you'd never credit in the main street, well in town, or I could be up at, I lived on North Maleny, our family, and we would be, you could hear the bikes in town, in Maleny Township, taken off, all two-strokes back then pretty well, of course. And yeah, so that was that. And yeah, it was the East Morton Motorcycle Club. But just keep videoing cars. Rightio. So yeah, it's mainly all to that gully there in the eastern side of where we're driving now. Just drive up along here. I can't remember how far the track used to go here, but it was a good natural terrain track. Actually, it was a really good natural terrain track because it had deep, steep gullies and steep downhills. Obviously, you didn't have the jumps back then to what you do now. And they were still high-speed tracks. Don't worry about that. Because if you had an RM400 or RM370, RM370B, or an RM400C, but probably RM370Bs, they used to go. They were at 35 horsepower or something. They were light, a bit over 100 kilos. They'd do. They were just the first starter getting reasonable twin shock suspension, reasonable travel. And just going to do another little bit down here. Just show you. And old dog. He can go alright, he or she. But I had my push bike knocked off on one of the events. Went down, we had them hidden, we had our push bike stashed. I had a 27-inch, just a normal 27-inch push bike, and we had it hidden up the gully here. Now it used to come across a deep little gully just down, because this bitumen road clearly wasn't here then. This is one of the first estates to be developed in Maleny. I think it was done by Murers, and that gives you the Mirror Drive. I'll just show you down here, Carl, so you point it down, watch what you're doing. And so I used to come up this, just down here, there was just 2 car widths track, and pretty well up where this driveway used to cut up through there, I think, up to the pits. So, but we had our push bikes hidden back up in there, and went to get them in the afternoon after the racing had finished, and mine was gone. And so we went looking, and I found it half stripped down, had the have one wheel off and one wheel was still on it. The mongrels had started deassembling it and throwing it in their car, and I grabbed it, went off the nut a bit, and couldn't find any of the other parts. But there used to be a sign just up here. Now, if I do remember rightly, it just went in through a normal old gate, in through down a grass track, and the sign was, I can't remember if the sign was here or the sign was over here, just over there where that Mura Drive sign was. It used to be East Morton Motorcycle Club. Now I don't know how many events they held out here. There must have been a few dozen over the years. But yeah, we lived about 2 kilometres from here, or 1.5 kilometres from here. So I'll just point it back out that way. So that's all back over in that property there, is where all those trees are. Hardly next to none of those trees, apart from in the gully and that were there. It was just farming land, like I said, owned by Francie Dunlop, and he was one of the he was an old man when I was a kid, and he loaded like an old DeSoto ute, I think. And the announcer that announces motocross through the 70s, and just for the life of me I can't remember his name offhand, he used to do the announcing then. And Bob Johnson, he used to announce out here, and he used to announce at Green Park, which is about 20 minutes drive from here. And this was North Maleny, and I'll just show you as we're going along here. So you're only looking at up along here, and then we turn left. I'll show you where I used to live, the Swenson family. But yeah, we used to enjoy that, and we were right into motorbikes, and that was the early 70s. And I don't even know, I probably did have my Victor Zip Start Deltec, or which I bought off Mum and Dad, bought off the mate's Bill, off their family. They had a couple of them. And then Peter, my older brother, got a Suzuki 90, TS90. And this was me, back in the day, this was me wheel standing area here, mainly more so in the late 70s, early 80s. I used to wheel stand the bad boy right up through all my 500s and all that up here, but there was no traffic on the road. Of course, back then it was only a narrow bitumen road, only half the width of what it is now. And this was our property down here on the right. It used to be Dad's machinery shed out the back of the old house here. He used to have all these trucks and everything and have his low loader and everything down in there. We had about an acre of land there. So this just coming along here, North Maleny. And we had heaps of gear out there. Dad had about, at any one time, had between 3 and 5 trucks, dozer, low loaders, trailers, had low loader trailers for his trucks, body trucks, brick trucks, timber trucks. Our family had fairly good timber business, brick business, and Dad used to cart sawn timber too, from Conondale Timbers, but mainly Tesh Brothers Sawmill, some timber from Grigger Brothers at Peachester, and then probably a bit from Keeler's Sawmills. Like Dad had at any one time probably half a dozen people working for him, 6 people. And yeah, so this is why I used to go to school in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and down this, what we used to call this is Post Office Hill. That's what I always knew it as. I didn't even know its real name. But this has always been this width pretty well, before it was even curb and channel. And down I'd come down here on my treadly, my 24-inch, then my 27-inch, full noise. And we always say, what happens if the brakes fail? We go straight ahead used to be the drapery, which is now Ray White. And Betty Dievenbach, which I've done a small story on Betty and George the other day. Betty used to work, it used to be her business, the drapery. And this town is a madhouse now. What are we going to do here? I'm halfway across the crossing. But just keep it going. Yeah, here we can't even get out. How's that? And of a Sunday many years ago, you could fire a shotgun up the main street of a Sunday and you actually wouldn't even hit anyone. But now, you've got to be joking. Oh, there's a Tesla. There seems to be a fair few of them starting to creep around, I might say. And up here, so we're going across the old Abbey Bridge, or the new Abbey Bridge. The old Abbey Bridge was narrow. I remember that as plain as day. I spent a lot of time here after coming out of the bush with Dad at the pub. He used to give me the shits. Oh mate, get a bed, get a bed. Get a bedroom. So here we are coming up, just looking towards there. This is the Maleny School. This used to be the preschool, the primary school, and the high school all rolled into one. Went from here from 1968, I think it was. Mark and I, 1968. Sorry, 1967, started school. Finished at the end of 1977. This little house over here I used to own. It's my little love shack. Oh man, the bloody girls are chased around, women I should say, chased around in there. Ooh. And none of these trees used to be here, none of them. This was all open grass paddocks. We used to have an airstrip up there for the crop duster on the right, which is now where the high school is. On the left here was just farming land, no church, no gum trees back there, no gum trees here, all open paddock. And I'm just going to tell you a little story here. So that's Errowal Retirement Village, all open paddocks. That's what the Roy Sisters' house used to be. Just see the sleeper wall. See that sleeper wall? You see it now? That sleeper wall there has been there ever since I can remember. Now I can remember seeing my dad drive his timber truck with the low loader on the back of the dozer coming back from Landsborough way, which we're heading now. And I could be sitting out the front of the wall, out the front, the Besser block wall, and I could see the timber truck. I'll just show you. And you can still see just glimpses of it. But I'd see the timber truck coming from the first see it come up here. I always knew it was Dad's timber truck or his brick truck or his bulk cement truck. So I knew I had trucks because that's pretty well just what I knew. And up here, this is Walker's, what I know is Walker's Hill, we're just going up. But it's all strange because what I knew of stuff wasn't actually stuff. Now if you just look back at here, we're coming up to, I think it's Howard Road. If we just go back to the left there, that's the golf course now. Here I could look across from home and see Dad just coming along here. So, or I could pick it because I've always liked cars, I've always liked trucks, so I'd just be looking. That was me. So here we are, just turning off here to the left to Gardeners Falls, Abbey Lane South. We go in here. Nice to keep video of this until I make video. So we're heading in towards Gardeners Falls now. There you're looking back at the township of Maleny over there. So we're looking back over towards the top of that big steep hill on Main Street. There's the post office hill. Because the post office was down on the right hand side just near the telecom exchange. On the street, on the main street, which is now newsagents. But here we are, we're coming down here towards Gardeners. There's a lot of Tommy Rot goes on down here over summer. Bit of nude sunbaking and the likes. Just going past Spices. I think this is the Tamarind down here. And I've got a feeling that they've blocked this road off. I've got a feeling you can't go right and drive down to the car park anymore, but I could be wrong. We will see. Now, if you go on the walk from the main street of Maleny, down where Woolies are, but on the other side, the Riverside Centre, you can actually walk on footpath and then through the paddock on a nice formed track. You can actually walk right down to here, and I think it even goes further. But here we are, look, this is middle of winter here, or towards the end of winter. And guess what? The bloody car park's full. So this is, I've got an old picture which I'll put up of my dad and a couple of his friends having fun down here when they were, this would have been in the 50s, at this here, the water hole just here. Yeah, Gardeners Falls is 300 metres down. Only problem is you never want to have valuables in your car here because there's a lot of not trustworthy people. Now, I used to mow all this when I worked for the council for years, Pete Bunderson and myself. But there's the car park. It's a bit of a shady, dark lane. I won't say, don't even want to touch base on some of the stuff that used to go on down here because it's not fit for young people here. That's the top of the Gardeners Falls. It's 300 metres down there. And now we're driving along. And this hasn't changed much since I was last down here. It was probably good 12, 18 months since I've driven down here. Carl's and I haven't even been down here on the little brap. We used to ride our motorbikes right near the Gardeners Falls. Oh, it was 25 years ago, but you've done that now, you get dobbed in. Dirt bikes, that is. No parking along here, because in summer it just gets hundreds of people down here, and geez, they leave messes. But anyhow, I'm going to leave it at that. That's Gardeners Falls. That's down through the main street of Maleny, through the bottom end of the main street of Maleny, from the old East Morton motorcycle club track of Francie Dunlop. Sveno Mick from Swenetson's Mowing and Grounds Maintenance. Sveno Mick out.